Hello, sweet friend, and welcome back to the Shamelessly Ambitious podcast. You are listening to episode 143. And for this particular episode, we're going a little back in time. And I am going to share a little bit about the journey that got me from where I was to where I am and to what I have recently created. And I'm so stinking excited for. I have been sneak peeking all over town, so to speak, in email, on Instagram, here on the podcast about this incredible membership renovation. And I have to tell you that the renovation itself has been happening for years. I think really trying to figure out for me what was the space, the legacy that I really wanted to create far past myself, And to me, that's what business is all about, is creating something that exceeds who you are and is more about the mission and the intention and the growth and the magnetism and the things that get to happen as a result of the space that you create, of the community that you cultivate, of all the things that you do. And I'm just so stinking excited. I'm so stinking excited, but it was not an easy path. It was not an easy path. So if you've been around for a little bit, you've probably heard quite a few stories and iterations of my life and my trials and my tribulations. That was a hard word. I am not going to go into detail with all of them, but I will give you a brief synopsis in that on the very beautiful side of the spectrum. And in fact, I would actually put both of these things, I put all of these things rather on the beautiful side of the spectrum, but I have accomplished a lot. I've had a lot of success as a business owner. I have owned a brick and mortar private practice. I have been a teacher worldwide, like all the way into Prague, like teaching and guiding and supporting people in network marketing and really holding like a leadership role there. I've had this amazing business, earned over $1 million. I have 2 master's degrees. I've really given it all. And it's been such a cool experience. And I have filed for bankruptcy. I have sold everything that I own 4 times to live nomadically as I still figure out what I want. I have sent my kids to school. I have homeschooled my kids. I have lived in Colorado and Costa Rica. I have lived in Italy and Texas. I have lived in North Carolina and London. I have 3 children, but I've also experienced a lot of loss as a mother, including 3 miscarriages between my first 2 boys, which was very challenging. I have had a journey in Christianity and then one of deep, deep struggle in the world of religion. Um, gosh, I have gone to jail. That was fun. Not so much. I have lost a lawsuit. I've been sued and lost a lawsuit and gone to trial. I have sold, at this point, we've sold 3 houses. One was a horrific experience. And the other 2 were just fine, just your normal selling of a house experience. I have been married for over 10 years. I've been in a relationship for over 15, all the same guy. Thank you very much. And I have had ups and I have had downs and I have had highs and I have lows. And I have for so long really believed that I am purposefully put in spaces and conditions to experience struggle and heartache so that I can become, 1, more empathetic and compassionate for those around me, but 2, become a better coach and a better guide and a better mentor. I have known since I was very, very, very little that this was the work I wanted to do. I love helping people, which is such a boring blanket statement, but I love the work I get to do. I freaking love it. And so if you know, I had a membership that was called, formerly known as the Empire Society. And it was pretty radically devoted to business and entrepreneurs, which is still a massive, beautiful focus of mine in everything that I do, because I understand what it's like to be an entrepreneur. I understand what it's like to ride the entrepreneurial, like, roller coaster of ups and downs and highs and lows. And I'm really, really good at helping fellow entrepreneurs maximize their psychological flexibility, which I believe is the thing that actually creates sustainability in a business. I think that if you are primarily focused on strategy, you will always, always end up in the same place over and over and over again, because what makes a business run is a CEO who can run with it, is a CEO who can stay above water, who can make profound, intelligent, but also intuitive decisions at every single turn. A CEO who has the ability to really focus on the long game rather than the short haul and just that rush energy, that scarcity. And I believe that that comes from the mental side of things. I believe that you can't outdo that, right? And that's always been a belief of mine. But ultimately, when I look at all the work that I've done, and if you are aware, I started as a life coach. Well, actually, I started as a therapist. So I started as a therapist many, many moons ago. And then I was in the life coaching space. And then eventually that turned into business coaching when I was just having a ton of success. And really, how many times do you think I'm going to say sex instead of success today? Like, hello, Freudian slips. I turned into business coaching because that made the most sense. And I love it. I freaking love business coaching. I love being able to get into somebody else's business and see things in a way that they cannot see them, and utilize things like sales psychology to enhance the way they're communicating with their people, and also enhance the way they're serving their people, and enhance the retention that they have. All those things, they mean everything to me. I love them. But ultimately, if you were to look at everything that I have done for 12, 13, 14 years, you would actually see that what I help people do is live an entire life above the standard. It's always been my aim. It's been my greatest focus personally, right? Is helping people to live above the standard. And that's because I believe that everything comes as a result of the magnetism that we create by living high level, right? By making really beautiful decisions on a day-to-day basis, by being able to coach ourselves, right? I think it's poor coaching to want people to be reliant on you, and instead of teaching them how to coach themselves, right? And I think that's because ultimately that's a gift that everybody deserves to have, is the ability to guide themselves and coach themselves through situations that they need help with, right? Areas when they feel stuck. I'm giggling right now because luteal phase is the worst time to record a podcast. But here I am. I'm always keeping it real with you. And my luteal phase is for sure making your girl stutter and not get her words out. But it's good for me to know, because I could get really frustrated, but instead I just want to giggle, like, fucking luteal phase. Like, I see you, you little sneaky sneak. I see you in there trying to do your thing. So anyhow, as I was considering, what do I want? A membership to me is so much more than just, I think, what a lot of people make them out to be. It's just a way for reoccurring revenue. Honestly, I think that's what a lot of people think. I think very differently. I think a membership is it's a legacy. It's like a mission. It takes things to a deeper level. A lot of the women who have been inside my membership have been inside my membership going on 2 years. That's how long it's existed. And many of them have re-signed and re-signed and re-signed, because it's a beautiful space to be in. And at the beginning of the year, I decided I want to make it that much better. I want to make it that much better. I know that I can provide more. I know this can be bigger. I know my mission is bigger. And so I set out to renovate and redesign my membership. And this was like a year ago that I started to explore this, to really sit with this, to honestly coach myself through what could this possibly look like. And so the brand new membership is called the Above the Standard Collective, because this is not simply a space that you just exist in. It's a space that you become in. And I'm going to get into a little bit of the details of like what you actually get inside of it. But what I felt was more important, one, sharing the history of kind of what got me to this space, but two, helping you to understand, what does it actually mean to live above the standard? And I had to ask myself this quite a bit, like, how do I do this on a daily basis? Now, I will say, just looking at myself and all the decisions I've made in my life, to me, living above the standard is being able to take risks constantly. And I call it the risk and repeat effect, okay? Where you're willing to put yourself out there and to not settle for comfort, to not settle for mundane, to not settle for average, right? But to choose above the standard on a daily basis, whether it's in your health and wellness, it's in your relationships, and it's in your business. And I realized that everything that I have done, whether it's inside my mastermind or it's in private coaching or it's in a program that I have, it always comes back to the foundational steps of when you live a good life, when you live a full good life where you're intentionally curating every aspect of it, everything else flourishes. Your business flourishes, your other relationships flourish, your day-to-day flourishes. And I realized that what mattered most to me was to create a space where I could show people and teach people and guide people on how to live above the standard in every moment of their life. And so I was thinking about this, and I was actually inside the membership. I have this really cool feature inside the membership that is called Musings. It's like the ATS, above the standard, ATS Musings. And I go in there and I just sort of riff and I coach and I teach and I do this on a weekly basis, but I'm also answering questions from the members inside of it. So any question that you have, I don't care if it's about your relationship, it's about your sex life. If you didn't know, I'm a certified sex therapist, so add that to the tally. No matter what you have to ask about, I'm just there to give you the guidance and support that you need, right? Well, I had a client who was specifically struggling with making a decision and just feeling kind of like blah about things in her life and decisions she was making in her life. And it really ultimately feeling kind of blah about her circumstances. And here's what I want you to consider. The person you get to become when you stop being the victim of your circumstances is the person who has taken back control of her mindset and is fully showing up in her life. And I asked every member in this space, I asked, if you're being radically honest with yourself right now, how often are you simply showing up in life? Which honestly is the easiest thing to do. It is easy to just show up to my marriage. And what I mean by show up is like, I'm just here. I haven't thought about it. I haven't considered who I want to be in this experience. I haven't considered anything rather than just, I'm here. I haven't thought about the chip that I'm putting in my mouth. I haven't considered whether or not I move my body. I just wake up and I go through the motions. And the sad truth is that a lot of people feel that way and a lot of people live that way. In fact, 76% of people get to the end of their lives and think, damn, I wasn't myself. And I wish I would have lived true to myself instead of the life others expected of me or simply showing up, right? And not existing to my fullest and my greatest potential, right? And so I'm talking about this behind the scenes inside of Above the Standard Collective. And I wanted to break it down for you here too. And what I do in situations like that, because here's the thing. So many of us, myself included, sometimes just show up, okay? Where life is just happening to you because you're just there for the ride. And the truth is, with this kind of energy, there's a lack of that intentionality that I'm speaking to. You're not grabbing life for all that it can possibly give you. And I believe I can help you change that. Okay. So, first, I want you to ask yourself and really imagine for yourself how differently your life might look if you stop simply showing up and truly, intentionally showed up. I feel like I need to emphasize that. It's underlined, it's italicized, it's in bold. How would your life look different? So, I have a couple questions that I ask myself all the time, starting my workday, which is now in the afternoons, when I am going to the park with the kids, when I'm trying to get a workout in, or maybe not wanting to get a workout in. But most importantly, these are the questions that I ask myself when I'm feeling really off, blocked, just blase or mundane in my life. Okay. When I realize that I have a choice here, and we all have a choice on a daily basis, I have a choice to do the quote unquote work to make a precious day magical, or I have a choice to not. So here's the two questions, okay? One, what is the absolute best possibility of what could happen? Okay, so imagine it's your workout. What's the best possibility of what could happen from this workout? What's the best possibility? Maybe it's date night. What's the best possibility? Maybe it's park with the kids. Maybe it's sitting down for work. What is the best possibility of what could happen? Now, the second question, and very important to specifically go second here, is who do I get to be to align myself with that possibility, right? And all of a sudden, when you ask yourself these questions, the things and circumstances that could take you or me out or suck you or me completely dry are now the things and experiences that fuel. So let me break it down for you in an example. The other day, I was feeling just exhausted with I know it's only been a month, but I've got the kids every single day and I can't believe how many chores I need to do. And I can't believe that I have to go to the park again and entertain them because Lord knows I don't want them in front of the screen, but just feeling you know that feeling? So I stopped and I asked myself, what is the absolute best possibility of what could happen today? Okay. And I really sat with that. And it was well, I could have a really cool, intentional conversation with my oldest son in the very small amount of time that I have left before he is just too cool for words. I could feel my body, truly feel my body ride a bike to the park. My body moves. It is mobile. My legs move. My lungs have capacity. I feel amazing. And I could see the difference in myself physically for all the work I've been doing to lose weight and take care of myself better, right? I could see those things. I could get my kids to help me with some of these chores, not only allowing me to have a little less on my plate, right? But to teach them something that will last them a lifetime, right? I could meet somebody at the park who could be a riveting connection for something I never could have imagined inside of my business, right? I could get so much energy from my day when choosing to get energy from it that I come home and I have so much to give to my marriage and to my business when that time comes. So I'm really playing it out and recognizing that my energy can be ignited by time truly spent playing with my kids at the park and acting like a kid myself. Okay. Now then I get to make that choice to shift my perspective and therefore how I show up and who I get to become by asking the question, who do I get to be to align myself with that possibility? That woman is not moping around just doing chores to do chores. She's got music on. She's engaged the kids. You're doing this. I'm doing this. Let's party. Let's get it done. We're having a good time. She's fully present at the park. She's fully alive and there, relentlessly there, right? She is connecting with strangers at the park as opposed to sitting off on a bench watching her kids play. I even got on a freaking, what are those things called? Now I can't remember. It's not a slide. It's not a swing. It is a zip line. There's a zip line at our local park. I'm definitely way too big for it, but I got on the zip line. Okay. I became her, fully present, playing like I was a kid, feeling truly filled to the brim. And normal day turned into a magical day. And the fact of the matter is that can be every day. Now, let's be honest. The truth is, it's not just about daily coaching, although that's a very, very important piece of this. It's about the constant healing. It's about putting ourselves in spaces where we can connect with others who are being wildly and radically honest and genuine and thoughtful and compassionate, where reciprocation is like the name of the game, which I think, unfortunately, it's just not something that you see a lot anymore. We feel like that's missing. I know we do, where you're giving more than you're receiving. It's also in spaces where people are asking the kind of questions that allow you to go places that you might not have gone on your own. And that makes the world of a difference. The truth is, the daily coaching itself, this is how we create a full and intentional life. This is how we take back control. This is how we stop being the victim of our circumstances. And this is what we truly deserve. And as I was coaching on this, I realized this is the premise of the Above the Standard Collective, to create a space where I am there to serve you on a daily basis, to remind you of who you are, to help you figure out who you are, to help you reinvent yourself over and over and over again, to help you get to know yourself, to help you find belonging. And all of this paves way, whether you are a business owner or not, for you to have the most extraordinary life. You see, the Above the Standard Collective is definitely not just another surface level Zoom room, which I know we've all been in, that leaves you feeling uninspired or lonely. Gosh, have you ever felt that loneliness in a crowded room because there's not a real conversation taking place? We need that. Collectively, humans need that. When we think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, at the very, very tippy top is belonging. It's connection. It's human to human. It used to be tribal, right? I cannot survive unless I have people who've got my back, right? But it still exists within each and every one of us. This space that I've created, I'm particularly calling in women who have had to be resilient, who probably have a decent level of ambitiousness, whether it's within their career, their business, their home. In fact, I was recently talking to a client about the concept of ambition, and she was really struggling with not necessarily the definition per se, but just does she really still align with the word ambitious? And I was sharing with her that I had once, very recently, in the past year or so, had an existential crisis, if you will, with the word ambition as well, which the podcast is called Shamelessly Ambitious. And so I was like, that's not good. But ultimately, what I had to come to terms with was that it wasn't the word itself, it was how I was defining it. And now I define the word ambition as it's like a way of being. I am ambitious about my marriage. I don't want to settle. I don't want to just show up in my marriage. I want to work for it. I want to fight for it. I want to be intentional. I'm ambitious about motherhood. I'm going to pick up the books that are going to make me better. I'm going to join the conversations that are going to challenge me. I'm going to pull my kids out of school, even though I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, because that's what feels like aligns most with my value system. And I'm going to risk and repeat, and I'm going to risk and repeat over and over and over again as the ambitious motherfucking woman that I am for my kids. And I'm ambitious in my business. not in the hustle till you can't breathe, rush it to the brim, scarcity mentality, but in the I believe in what I'm doing and I'm here for the long haul. And I'll stick it out and I'll fight for my psychological flexibility so I can be here over and over and over again because this is what I was put on this earth to be. So this space is for the woman who identifies with that sort of ambition, who identifies with resiliency, maybe feels a little bit like you've had to fight for everything that you have and needs that permission slip to reinvent yourself over and over again, to become who you're meant to be over and over again, to feel, I think the most profound thing that we can do, especially as women, is to feel peacefully and intrinsically motivated, okay? Meaning that our motivations come from within, not from without. It's not a matter of what is she doing or why is she doing it, but why do I want it? Why am I doing it? That to me is the healthy, aligned level of ambition, right? Because my friend, at the end of the day, what's really standing between you creating the life that you want is the bridge between where you are now and who you want to be, right? And the self-permission to do the scary thing over and over and over again. And let's not deny the fact that to do the scary thing feels a hell of a lot cooler when we're surrounded by people doing the scary thing with us. Because in order to get more out of this life, we have to fucking do the tough but worth it work. Like, it's a little tough, but it's so worth it. Because when you can hold more, you can have more. And the truth is, most people wouldn't dare to fight for it. Most people will just show up no matter what. Even if they hear this podcast, they will continue to just show up. And I hope that's not you. I hope that you're done just showing up and you're ready to be intentional. Above the Standard Collective is a life coaching membership and community that helps resilient, ambitious women go from I'm too much to unapologetically creating the big, bold, beautiful life that they truly want. And inside this space, you have me, fully, completely me to support you. You've got the musings, which I love. We are now hosted inside of Mighty Networks, and inside Mighty Networks, we put in all past musings in a themed organizational way. So you can go back and listen to things, whether it's on launching or time management or motherhood or relationships, whatever you're feeling like you need, just a dose, a cup of love. You get to listen to these audios, kind of like a private podcast, right? We also have monthly healing intensives. A lot of them are live, meaning I'm right there coaching you through something, but really beautiful, deliberate focuses, which I will share more on a later episode. And you can also dig in a little bit when doors officially open, which is not quite yet. But these healing intensives are beautiful, intentional, of course, and customized to every member inside the space. It is the work of my, almost 15 years in the field that I know will change the game for you, no matter who you are or what you're focusing on in your life. And then the final piece of it that I love so deeply are our fireside chats, where based on the focus of the month, I bring in a really beautiful, spectacular person who can speak to with vulnerability in mind, really have a genuine conversation around that topic. And it is life altering. These conversations are life altering. They're so beautiful. They're so perfect in the sense that they're not curated. It is not scripted. There is not a PowerPoint. We are here having a conversation, just having a conversation. In fact, recently we had somebody come in who specifically spoke about reinventing herself over and over and over and over and over again, and what it took and who she needed to be. And sometimes the most beautiful thing we can do is witness somebody else's story and, more importantly, see ourselves in it. I know you felt it before, because I certainly have, where in one instantaneous moment you are healed because you have tuned in or you have shared. And that's what this space is for. A place to feel like you truly belong, to witness, to express, to reciprocate, to feel, to heal. This is the space built for you. And I'm so excited because I think it serves every woman. Well, I guess I'll say every woman who is resilient as fuck, who is willing to show up for herself, who is no longer willing to settle. That's who it's for. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And so I really wanted to dedicate an entire episode to, one, coaching you through how you can make your days that much more magical, how you can be your own greatest mentor on a day-to-day basis. But I also wanted to dedicate an episode strictly to this amazing community and collective that I've built. And doors are opening. Doors are opening very soon. They open on July 22nd. So I wanted to give you this information before the doors even opened. The difference with this membership is that the doors are not always going to be open. They're going to open up twice a year. So this is the only time this year, and then they don't open again until next year. And the primary reason for that is that I really want everybody to have a chance to get to know one another. And I know I've entered spaces before that were like rolling enrollment, and you kind of feel like you're joining something and you're the only new person. Like I was the new girl in middle school, which was the worst. And it really felt like I'm coming into this space and nobody else is experiencing what I'm experiencing and nobody else is feeling what I'm feeling and everybody has connections. And so I knew that this space had to be curated against that, in that every time doors open, there will be a huge gang cohort of people who are brand new that get to connect and explore and meet the OGs, and they get to do it together. And so you're always going to feel together, like that togetherness that you need. And so doors are only open from July 22nd through July 31st. That is your only opportunity to get in. And I really hope you will. I really hope you will. So my friend, always reach out to me if you have any questions or you want to share anything. I truly, truly believe that I was put on this earth. In fact, I'll share this last thing. I had a healing service done recently with a mental health practitioner who also does energy healing. It was really, really cool. And on that particular call, she got into my energy before we got on the call. And she said to me, I can tell instantly from just being in your energy that you have a very nurturing aura about you. And you were put here on this earth to heal the mother wound in everybody else, but also in yourself and in your history, your generational, like every woman before you needed the mother wound healed and did not have that. And I never felt anything that was more confirming in my life, because I think that's the edge of everything that I do, is like so many of us are carrying around this wound of motherhood, both in how we've experienced motherhood or even just generational trauma that we're not even aware of. And then of course, when motherhood comes around, some of my greatest triggers have been being a mom and like remembering things that I didn't know even existed because motherhood sparked that in me. And that's amazing. And also it's heavy. It's heavy to wear both, to have both, to navigate both. And yeah, when she said that, I thought, that is this, a place where we heal the wounds so we can be our greatest selves, so we can show up for life the way we're meant to on a daily basis. So I love you and I'm so excited. And thank you for allowing me to dedicate an entire episode to this, because whether or not you're going to join us, I hope you just understand this mission and smile a little bit, knowing that life can really be that freaking